Hello everyone and welcome to this video on the derivatives of x as a function of y. Yes, I didn't say that incorrectly. We are now ramping up the complexity. No, we're not really. But we're going to look at things in a slightly different way. Normally we have equations that always start y equals and have some sort of function of x. But what if we had x as a function of y? Like x equals y squared minus 4y, for example. How would we solve this? Well, theoretically, we could try and rearrange it in terms of y equals, but wouldn't it be great if there was a different way of doing it? Well, that's what this video is about to show you. Now, it's part of the specialist maths course here in Australia, but again, it is universal. This comes up throughout every maths course I know throughout the rest of the world, so hopefully it's going to be useful. My name is Darren from Maths Guru. If you can head over there and sign up, that would be great. These videos will populate over time. And hopefully there is other stuff on there for you as well. Right, let's get on because we've already read the learning objectives. They were behind you. Right, now in the first session of the series, I've already recapped differentiation. We looked at the product rule, the quotient rule, the chain rule. We looked at the modulus and all the sort of basic fundamentals. As this chapter progresses, the work will get more and more interesting, exciting, whatever you want to use. But let's go back to the chain rule. Now, as I said previously, we know the chain rule basically can be written as dy by dx is equal to du by dx times dy by du, or something along those lines, yeah? Now, let's look at a specifically interesting case of where the y value equals the x value. Let's look where y is equal to x. Now, if we replace everywhere I see a y with an x, then I get dx by dx is equal to du by dx times dx by du. Well, that seems fairly obvious because ultimately if we were looking at this, that and that would cancel out giving me, or rather that and that would cancel out giving me dx by dx. That is equal to 1, all right? So 1 is equal to du by dx times dx by du. Well, if we look at rearranging that, then we now know that du by dx is 1 on dx by du. Aha, so what we've really shown there is that we can reciprocate. Now, using that then, we can basically say, well, if du by dx is 1 on dx by du, then what about that? Is it also true then that dy by dx is the same as 1 on dx by dy? Now, if you're trying to look ahead at where we're going with this one, well, that means that we can actually integrate, we can differentiate x with respect to y, and when we get that answer, just reciprocate it. That seems so easy in hindsight with just a little bit of sort of a proof down here, a little bit of algebraic manipulation. Now, obviously, it's got to be important here that dx by dy cannot be 0, all right? So in that situation, we've got to be very careful that dx by dy cannot be 0. And there are a few examples we can work through. So let's look at something relatively simple here where we've got x is equal to y cubed. Now, yes, you can probably turn around and say, well, hold on a moment. Why can't we just do that as y is equal to x to the power of a third? Because then we know that dy by dx is basically equal to 1/3 of x to the minus 2/3, which becomes 1 on 3 times 1 on, well, x to the 2/3, which is going to be, well, I'm going to leave that there for the moment because, yes, I don't know about you, I hate fractions. If I can try and do this without using fractions, life would be so much easier. So what we can now do is say, well, if we've got x equals y cubed, then dx by dy is simply 3y squared. I like that. That makes life very easy. Did I just write dx by dx? I did. Try that one again. So dx by dy. So therefore, dy by dx is now literally 1 on 3y squared. Oh my goodness. Now again, why would that be useful to us? Why would we want dy by dx in terms of a y value? Well, more importantly, why not? We get so used to in maths having the idea that x is equal to a number, but why can't we give you y equals? Why can't we turn around and say, well, let's have y equals a particular number, right? So this is just something slightly different. We've obviously got to be careful here as well because in special, we've really got to make sure that we put down any values or any conditions or any domains where this is actually valid. And obviously in that situation, we can't have a value where y equals 0. Now, I always say a picture is worth 1,000 words. If I was to plot this, this is what we're going to come out with. Now that sort of makes sense. Y equals x to the power of a third. That is what my x to the power of a third is. It's basically equal to, and to go back to just sort of tying this all together, that's effectively the graph of y equals x cubed reflected in the line y equals x, or the inverse of, yes? So that sort of makes sense now why this is the graph we've got. If we look at the point where y is equal to 0, which is there, all right? If I take the gradient at that point there, what am I actually going to end up with? Well, I'm going to end up with a vertical line, i.e. it's not going to have a gradient. So we need to be very mindful of these type of things. And I always say sketch, sketch, sketch. It's a CAS course. These type of questions undoubtedly will be some sort of CAS enabled. But here we go. So find the gradient of the curve x equals y squared minus 4y. Now again, I've done a bit of a sketch over here. Why would it be a parabola? Well, if we swap my values of x and y, if we go back to y is equal to x squared minus 4x. Oh, okay, that's very definitely a parabola. By swapping the x's and y's, I've just reflected it in the line y equals x. And so that sort of now explains why it's on its side. Now, we've got to be very careful with these type of things to also realize that, well, is it a one-to-one function? Now, in this situation, there is no way that's a function, much less a one-to-one function, because for it to be a function, it's got to pass the vertical line test. For it to be one-to-one, it's got to pass both the vertical and the horizontal line test. So in this situation, we need to be very careful that we know what the question is asking us. Now, if we look here, find the gradient of the curve x equals y squared minus 4y at the point where y equals 3. Now again, a quick pencil sketch here. There's my value of 3. He says trying to find my highlighter. If I come along here, there is actually only one value at that point where we can look for a gradient. So we're only looking for one answer. That's sort of going to make sense a little bit in a moment. So if I now say, well, my dx by dy is equal to what? 2y minus 4. So therefore dy by dx is going to be equal to 1 on 2y minus 4. Now again, is there any restrictions here that suggest that that can't be true? Okay, well in which case we can't have that value as 0. So 2y minus 4, 2y equals 4, y is equal to 2. Is that what I'm looking for? Yep. So in which case y cannot equal 2. All right, so y can't equal 2 in that particular equation. And again, a lot of you are screaming at it going, you didn't really need to do that. I know. But I like to show because it sort of ties in with all the work I do with methods and what you can. So there we go. There's my differential. Luckily, they've given me a y value equals to 3. So now I can therefore say that my dy by dx is equal to 1 on 2 times 3 is 6 minus 4, which basically gives me a half. So the gradient at that point is a half ka-ching. What about here though? Find the gradient of the curve x equals y squared minus 4y at x equals 5. Now, if we now draw or use this to go where x equals 5, oh, that was x equals 4, try that one again. Oh, it's hitting at 2 points. It's going to hit here and it's going to hit here. So I'm going to end up with a gradient, or should end up with 2 gradients. Let's work through and see what happens in the same way we've got here. So what do we have? We had try that one again. Dx by dy is equal to 2y minus 4. So dy by dx is equal to 1 on 2y minus 4. Okay, well, I don't have my y values, do I? Do I have my y values? No, but can I find my y values? Absolutely. Because we know that y squared minus 4y is equal to x. So I've got a y, my x value is now is 5. So I've got y squared minus 4y equals 5. Y squared minus 4y minus 5 is equal to 0. Going to complete the square. So I've got a y minus 2 all squared. That's going to give me 4. I'm going to take away 9 is equal to 0. So I'm going to get y minus 2 all squared is equal to 3. Take the square root of that. It's going to give me y minus 2 is equal to, that's not true. Come on, Darren, focus. Is going to give me plus or minus 3. So y is going to be equal to 2 plus 3, which is 5, or 2 minus 3, which is minus 1. All right, now there we go. Does that sort of make sense? Well, yes, because if we go back to here, we've got this value here, which if we read off would probably be 5, and that value there will be -1. Okay, cool. So there's my two y values. Can I now find my gradients? Absolutely, because I go, therefore, my dy by dx is going to be equal to, let's put 5 in first. 2 5s are 10, minus 4 is 6, is going to give me 6, or 1/6 at y equals 5. And then we've got dy by dx is equal to, what do we got? -1. So -2 minus 4 is -1/6 at y is equal to -1. There we go. So I've got a feeling that this is going to become more important as we move through the rest of this course. But, you know, our CAS can also do this for us. So again, the whole point of specialist maths is knowing how to use your CAS effectively, particularly in the multiple choice questions where it can save you hours and hours and hours of time. And hopefully at some point later on, I'm going to go through a lot of the UDFs that are out there, show you how to install them on your calculators, how to use them, and test actually whether they work, because I'm hearing that some of them aren't specifically working. Right, so we have a look here. We've got this idea now that I've got, what did I have a moment ago? X is equal to y squared minus 4y was the expression we were looking for. So putting this into my calculator, well, we can actually rearrange the equation, right? So we're going to rearrange the equation to get y equals and y equals. Now, the reason being is, well, my calculator has a dy by dx function. It doesn't have a dx by dy function that I'm aware of. I'm going to have a look in just a moment. But having got my calculator to rearrange into the two values of y, I've differentiated this one and differentiated this one, and out come those two values. What have I done then? Well, I've basically substituted x equals 5 into each of those. And again, because the question gave me x equals 5, substituted into one of them, gave me -1/6. And into the other one, gave me the value of a 1/6. And so use your calculator and know how to use it if you can. Pretty much, that's the lesson done. And I say this is going to build into something much more soon. Did we understand how we can find the derivatives of x equals functions? Yes. Do we know that we got to make sure that we visualize what these look like? Yes, because that would also be helpful. But I think I'm done. If you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be massive. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I will see you in another video. If not, please take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.